Daniel, thanks for inviting us here to your offices in London.
No, thank you for coming in.
Can you give me an update on the strategy for Cain International and particularly for here in Europe?
So Cain National, for those that don't know, started in about 2014, and we have three main strategies: real estate debt, real estate equity and private equity. So if I focus on the real estate equity part of the business, we have a couple of large-scale developments in London, the Stage in Shoreditch and Islington Square in Islington. We also have a very large for-sale residential joint venture with Galliard Homes across London. In the US, we've got various different developments and projects in Miami, both residential and office. We have some new projects in New York and Boston, and most recently we made a significant investment in Beverly Hills.
That sounds as though there's quite a wide range of assets, particularly for Europe. Are you sort of asset agnostic, or are you looking to focus on a specific asset class?
I joined here a couple of years ago. That was when the company decided to invest in Europe and move outside from being solely within the European sphere, UK business. And we've looked at various different sectors actually, but I think generally we've been focused more on the office market, focused on, we have a residential exposure both in the UK and in the US, and so we like residential, and I think we look to focus on it more in Europe as well. We've looked at the logistics sector. And but I think generally most of our portfolio in Europe is generally geared towards the office sector.
And the office sector has obviously seen quite a lot of change actually over the last sort of 5 years, even 2 years. What are you seeing as some of the trends, particularly for new occupiers taking space?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point because the market is changing. Tenants aren't really looking to take the same space they've always taken. We're developing a building in Barcelona in 22 At, and that's generally, the occupiers down there are very technology focused and they don't want the same space they've always had. So our office building we're developing there, we're looking to have larger terraces, much more communal working spaces, something where employees can, the office is more part of the environment they're working in rather than a place they just go to work. And we're seeing that, as I said, across, particularly in Barcelona, where we're developing our building, but we're seeing it again in some of our other developments in Dublin and in Krakow. And we're seeing that the demand from tenants to have something a little different, a little bit special, because they need it to attract their employees.
And you mentioned Spain there, and Spain is obviously very hot at the moment, Iberia in general. Yeah. How are you finding that market, and are there particular niches that you're looking for to find the opportunities for your capital?
Yeah, so we're generally focused on gateway cities and challenger cities, those cities that are up and coming and we think will present good demographics and good opportunities for growth in the future. And in Spain, I think we've really been focused on Madrid and Barcelona. As I mentioned before, we've got this development in Barcelona, but we're also looking to buy more existing assets and then take advantage of really the strong macroeconomic performance of the economy. And really that macroeconomic performance is driving through into stronger tenant demand, increase in rental levels. And we're really trying to focus on those key cities and those buildings and those sort of offerings that, which we think can drive performance by delivering really what tenants need in this, very competitive and changing market.
And there's obviously a lot of discussion around risk, particularly Brexit, obviously, at the moment. Are you seeing some countries or regions that are more likely to benefit from that? Yeah,
so a lot of our investments are really trying to focus on where do we think the opportunities are for the next few years. And Brexit is a risk and an opportunity. And you're seeing certain markets, really, really benefiting from that. And we think those markets are really, the core Central European markets, so Warsaw and Krakow and Budapest to a smaller extent, but also in Dublin. And then we've got a big development in the North Docks in Dublin. And what you're seeing there is the technology companies are really focused on that market. They present an opportunity to sort of be relatively close to the UK and still take advantage of some of the issues that are going on here with the Brexit.
Great. Thanks very much for sharing some of the strategy around Cain International and your insights on the market, Daniel.
Thank you very much. Thank you.